Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now here in this box, this is the Pathfinder Scout Pack, which is the newest pack in the Self-Reliance Outfitters backpack lineup. And well, if you know anything about Self-Reliance Outfitters, David Canterbury is the co-founder of Self-Reliance Outfitters. He is also the founder of the Pathfinder School. He's also somebody I have had the luxury of meeting with on a number of occasions where I covered his booth both at Blade Show and SHOT Show, and well, Blade Show again. Now, David's somebody that I've come to greatly appreciate for a number of reasons. One, because he's been excellent to work with. So at my time at these shows, he's been nothing but cordial, helpful, friendly, just a great person to interview. I've also purchased a number of his products. So here from the Pathfinder Knife School, this here is the Mountain Lion. This was a gift actually that I purchased, but Carlos from Daily Carry Solutions picked up for me at Blade Show 2019, so it goes back a ways. But David Canterbury, also an author. He has written these books, and I've been slowly but surely and methodically purchasing these and really learning a ton. So, I mean, everything from watching him on TV, watching him on his YouTube channel, learning a lot, a bit of information at a time, like 1,000 times. When I saw this Scout Pack, I thought this would be a great option for me. And well, the funny thing is, if you look here, it's not like I really need another backpack. So when I saw this Scout Pack, it really called to me and I knew it was a product I wanted to check out. So what we're going to do today, we're going to break this out. I'm going to take a look at this in detail. We're going to get some first impressions of this Scout Pack, but then from here, I'm going to move forward into some testing. I'm going to get it out into the bush for some good quality bushcraft experience. So today's video, again, a little more first impressions, and then in the future, a follow-up out in the bush. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. And so again, in this box, the Self-Reliance Outfitters Pathfinder Scout Pack, which I purchased. This just arrived. The first thing is my purchasing experience. I kind of jumped on this fairly quick, to be honest, at this point. At this point, during this video, I think the pack is sold out. I actually went on their website to try to do just a little bit more research to make sure I was accurate on all my facts, and I can't even find it on there. So this went pretty quick. And, well, speaking of quick, it shipped very fast. So I did receive this in less than a week from the time I purchased it to the time it was delivered to my door today. And so that's the first thing. So a nice job with the ordering process and a nice job with super fast shipping. But to unbox this, might as well use the Pathfinder Knife Shop Mountain Lion. We're going to bust out this, just being careful here to make sure I don't create any damage. And as we get into this, again, the Pathfinder Scout Pack. So most of the Self-Reliance Outfitters products are Pathfinder products. Again, David Canterbury being the founder of the Pathfinder School. Bushcraft and survival training, which relies heavily on gear. And if you listen to David's teaching, well, there are a whole bunch of different elements that go into his philosophy. Now, when you look at David Canterbury's Bushcraft 101, and you go right away, right to the beginning here, part 1, gearing up. When you look at it here, they start to cover the 5 C's right away, but literally the very first sentence in the very first chapter, part 1, gearing up. When you practice bushcraft, you are a self-contained unit. You must carry all you need on your back and on your person. Everything necessary to sustain you for the duration of your trip. You'll notice the very first chapter, your pack. Now, David Canterbury obviously talking about the 5 C's at length, but the very first chapter covering your pack. You cannot, and I'm not going to say not survive, but it's going to be very difficult to survive if you can't carry your equipment comfortably. Your pack needs to be able to carry all of your essentials, so your basic survival essentials, as well as, well, in my case, generally some luxury items and my camera equipment. But this here, the Pathfinder Scout Pack, should cover a lot of the basics that you need in order to properly manage your gear, and especially those 5 C's. So again, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go through this in detail. This here, first and foremost, well, the size. They report this between a 35 and 40 liter pack. So where's that gonna fall? Well, for me, it's, I'd say, like a mid-sized day pack. I'm probably not going to get myself into too effective of an overnight in a 40 liter pack. That's just me. I typically need a little bit more space. Now, I do think that the shape of this and some of the features are going to allow me to pack this out to what is more effective in what I typically get in a 65 liter pack, while my ability to hopefully get into this for the 40 liter range. And you'll see what I'm saying in a little bit. So the next thing is the material. This is 1000D ballistic nylon, typical of what you see on, you know, sort of heavier duty packs. There are a lot of companies that use 1000D. Certainly, you know, we are 511s, Maxpedition, VanQuest, different brands. A lot of times you hear Cordura, that's just a name brand, ballistic nylon. But this here, 1000D. Now you can see two-tone, has this sort of tan and the brown, pretty nice. I am pretty much a fan of this. I'm not like the hugest fan of tan and brown in combination, but this looks pretty good. I do like it. It should blend in into the environment, which I like. I sort of like subdued colors, so this works out very well. And then the straps and the hardware. So Self-Reliance Outfitters reporting that they use military grade buckles and military grade webbing. Looking up close, this is a UTX Duraflex buckle. So name brand Duraflex buckles. Good positive click. I've come to greatly enjoy and trust these. So that's the first thing in. You'll see just a little bit of rattle on these, but not too bad. Once they're under tension, that rattle goes away. So pretty typical, but the UTX Duraflex buckle is definitely a good buckle. Looking at the back of the pack here, reasonable straps, not overly padded. In fact, there's almost no padding on this at all. Very, very thin padding, but they're wide. So this is going to help to distribute the weight over your shoulders. Cuts down on a little bit of bulk. No ventilation to speak of in the shoulder strap, so it'll be interesting to see how these breathe. Pretty straightforward, a little bit, I would say, sort of old school in design. You do end up with some MOLLE in strategic locations, but for the most part, this looks to be a little bit more traditional. Now, as we get into the top of the pack here, you'll see this does have a lid. So the lid here is connected in a number of locations. So you end up with these 2 straps in the back to adjust the height, but then it also buckles down on the front. And this does have a little bit of adjustment, so that's going to help. And remember, one of the things I said is I don't typically fit in an overnight scenario in a 40 liter pack. But the idea being, if this sort of brain can lift up, well, now I can get my sleep system under there. This also, looking real quick, has some straps on the bottom. So where typically my backpacking backpacks don't necessarily have the ability for me to strap things on the bottom. Not always. Sometimes they do, but not always. And also in the top, that's going to gain additional space and volume inside the pack for a lot of those essentials that I need for the overnight experience. Now this here is a roll top design, which if you've been following my channel, the further and further I get into backpacking, the more and more I actually appreciate a roll top design. I used to not be able to stand it. Now I greatly enjoy it for the convenience. I do like one big, large, cavernous, like no separation type of pack. Well, as we look in here and unbuckling this again, Duraflex buckle, nice little Velcro enclosure, and inside, that's pretty much what you get. One big open cavernous bag, no subdivision, no additional pockets, nothing that you don't need, which sometimes that just adds additional sort of weight and bulk and difficulty when you don't really need it. But looking inside, the couple of things that you do get: a very simple attachment for something like a water bladder, and 2, Well, as we undo this interior Velcro, this pad here, which doubles as sort of a seat, this gives the back a little bit of rigidity, but it does double as a seat. I will probably personally never pull this out because I don't really need to, but it's nice that it's there if you need it. Now, one thing to note, if you do pull that out, the bag gets a little more flexible, so you can see here, if you want to sort of soften things up and change the dynamic in the bag, you can pull this out and just use it without it, which again will make it just a little more flexible. But I will choose to slide that back into place. And so as we get into the brain of the pack here, you'll see on the outside a Velcro morale field, Pathfinder right across the top. So again, the Pathfinder Scout Pack. Very nice. I like having a little bit of, a morale field on the outside. I do tend to put some patches on my pack, so that's definitely cool. On the back side of the head pack, nice, large. I mean, these are beefy YKK zips. So as you look here, just really, really beefy. Now, being a little bit nitpicky, one thing I probably personally would have liked to see is these zipper tracks inverted. You'll notice that these are at this point sort of exposed. A lot of the, I would say, like more ruggedized packs that I personally use have inverted zipper tracks, which helps to protect the teeth. The other thing that it does is it kind of, and it's not perfect, but it helps to shed a little more moisture. In the event that it does, mist on you, you kind of need to shed the water off of this. This is going to be a vulnerability for water to get in here. So personally, in my opinion, I probably would have had these inverted, but it's not a big deal. Again, opening this up, and on the inside, a nice, big, large brain. So the ability to put some simple items, things that you may need to get to quickly and easily while out on the trails. Personally, I would probably put my snacks in here, maybe a pair of gloves, nice winter hat, things like your sunglasses. You don't have any other little pouch in here. One thing that I need when I'm on the trails, quite honestly, a place to put my keys. So having a small little pouch in here, maybe just enough that you could zipper in your keys, would be kind of nice. But again, not a big deal. Speaking about pouches, here on the front of the pack, this nice large pocket. So again here, a large Velcro field. Now this could come into play a number of different ways. First and foremost, obviously you could put some morale patches, but if you have other pouches that are actually Velcro lined, you could utilize this to your advantage. So sticking other pouches on the outside, this should be pretty reasonable and hold it pretty firmly in place. With the right type of Velcro, I'm not too concerned that this would get pulled off. It really does take a pretty reasonable effort to get it off, and if that was gonna rip, you would probably hear it while you're out on the trails. So things like a med kit, or small little like accessory pouch, your fire kit, really nice on the outside, and that really again makes this pack larger than it is. So back to my original point, which is sometimes I can't get myself into a 40-liter pack for that overnight. However, this pack can be built out to the point where you get the advantage of a smaller pack when you need it, but more storage if you need it as well. Again, going to the inside YKK zips, these zipper tracks do move very nice, as you can see here. No problem, working nicely. Now this does come with a couple accessory straps. That's awesome. I love this. I think this is a really nice thing to come with this pack. Now again, I'd probably like to see this zipper track inverted, but not a big deal. Inside here, a fairly large pocket. So the ability again to put a lot of good items, again, snacks, fire kits, med kits, water filters, different types of things that you need while you're out on the trails. In addition, you could potentially put some of your, real basic food items and things that you're going to eat where you don't want to go into the rest of the pack, but you can get to them on the outside of the pack. As you look at the side of the bag here, you will see this is some PALS webbing. So typical Molly webbing here. Nice that it's on the side of the bag, and you have plenty of webbing on these compression straps to make it around another pouch. So for me, I will probably leverage some sort of saddlebags which will clip on the side here and again expand my overall capacity. this is where I would put the bulk of my food, one on each side of this bag, so one on the left, one on the right, and really expand this for that overnight experience. And that actually is pretty nice, where right now this bag is thin enough that it's going to fall between my shoulder blades, but if I build it out with these saddlebags, I really gain some solid additional capacity. And again, that's where I would typically put the bulk of my food for that overnight experience. And if they don't make them already, I would definitely enjoy Self-Reliance Outfitters to make very specific saddlebags to fit this particular pack. I think that would be fantastic and nice to have some accessories that just bolt onto this, and they're made to do that. This would make for a nice platform for some additional accessories to continue to build on this to gain a larger system. Fairly large and cavernous side pockets, which is awesome. I always need the ability to put tripods, an axe, different tools. I have a large saw that could go in here. So I always like to leverage these side pockets, not just for water bottles, but for tools and again, my camera equipment. So having these two nice large pockets on the side, that is absolutely awesome. And the other thing, again, to point out, enough strap on the compression strap to make it around your gear and then help to cinch it down. That's definitely nice. I like that a lot. And actually just a subtle detail as we look at this here, a nice Pathfinder logo stitched into the side. So very cool, nicely done. The front of the pack is pretty straightforward. Now, one thing that you can see, which I think should work pretty well. If you look at the fact that there's MOLLE on the top, sometimes what you can get away with long enough straps, and I'm a little concerned, yet at the same time not concerned, and I'll explain, but you can put something in here like a bedroll or a tarp, and then when you're cinching this down over the top and clipping it in place, well, this piece of kit stays right here. Very nice. And think about putting your tarp on the outside of the pack right here. Well, the key there is right when you get to camp, you can pull out your tarp, especially if it's adverse conditions, set it up really fast. And then when you clean up and pack up, it goes on the outside of the pack. So if it's wet, you're not getting the contents on the inside of the bag wet. But even at that, not that this is a dry bag by any means, but you can see the inside of the Ballistic Nylon has been treated. Not only is it 1000D, which has some reasonable water resistance in the first place, however, even better, it has also been treated, which is really going to help keep moisture out of the pack. But even if that's not enough, down the bottom here, this is on the underside, you will see this also has a sewn in, so a fully sewn in pack cover, bright and orange. Again, dual purpose, where A, you can protect your pack from the rain and the elements, but B, this makes for a wonderful signaling device. So if you are stranded, if you ran into problems, if you needed to be rescued, and even if you're a hunter, this will work out very well where it's that blaze orange, nice, bright, loud, but to me, one of the key features is you can completely stash this away. And when you do, the pack is low profile, nice and subdued. It allows me to sort of stealth camp. I mean, the last thing that I really honestly want most of the time is to be seen. I really like to lay low and sort of blend into my environment. So the colors here are working really well, but when you need it in the bottom of the pack, you have that sort of safety mechanism. So very nice. And as I reach down to the bottom of the pack, something else that's very important. The pack cover does not create what I call competition of space. A lot of times in bags, when you have things that sort of encroach in other areas of the bag, you do end up with competition of space, and it really reduces your capacity. But feeling here, no problem. I have no fear that there's anything really getting in the way of my ability to do what I need. And of course, on the bottom, you have the ability to lash anything to this pack, and it comes with the straps. So your accessory straps here can be used for a number of different things. Lash it right onto the bottom of the pack, no problem. Very nicely done. So I think the layout of this bag is going to have a huge advantage where, first and foremost, it can stay reasonably slim for your typical day trips, but you can build it out for the overnight adventure. And so I think that Self-Reliance Outfitters, the Pathfinder School, David Canterbury, Corporal Kelly, all the people that have had some thought process and design elements into this have done a very good job. Now, the one place I'm going to be the most interested to see how it performs is, quite honestly, the shoulder and harness system. This could make or break this pack. Without a ton of padding, I'm hoping these are wide enough to be comfortable with, I would say, modest ventilation. We'll see how it breathes. Now, I'm not one to really care if my back gets sweaty because usually I'm grinding in the mountains. I'm sweating anyway. It doesn't matter how much ventilation you put on a pack. It's gonna suck. So not having a ton of padding, not a big deal. I'm curious about the weight, how comfortable it really will be. The overall stitching on the shoulder straps looks to be sound, but it's not like it's a wide yoke design. I'm curious about rub. I'm curious about hot spots. Sometimes in a poorly fitting pack, I get pinched nerves kind of in my traps. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. And also on the waist belt, does it leave any hot spots? That's only something you can learn by loading this up and putting weight in it. You really cannot tell on a pack, no matter what the design is. It could look like it's padded to the hills. It could have perfect ventilation. The thing could look like $1 million. It could cost $1 million and still create hot spots, create pinched nerves, and not ride well. It could look like a Jansport bag, have the cheapest chintzy straps, and well, you could be shocked to find out it carries the best. So a bag really needs to be loaded, it really needs to be on your back, and you really need to be using it in the environment to figure out how it's gonna carry. So that's gonna be the case. Now, a couple of observations. For me, unfortunately, this webbing doesn't do exactly what I need. I'm missing something very important to me, and it's a pretty big deal. First, the pro. I like that it has MOLLE. I like that it has the sternum strap, and I like that it's adjustable. That's all going to work well. Has a nice general sort of S-shaped design, which should be pretty comfortable and should contour well to your body. But just my personal problem being, well, I use this Peak Designs adapter to carry my camera on my shoulder while I hike. I need to get to my camera quickly and I can't have it in my bag. And I found that on my shoulder is the safest place to do that and the fastest place to effectively get it out to film. And unfortunately, this is not going to fit. If this just had sort of a double wide slot, and really honestly, every other one of these could be double wide and it probably would have been about perfect, giving you a little bit of flex and adjustability with the sternum strap and still really met the intent of the strap system on the front of the bag. But here, unfortunately, this is not gonna fit. And so I am out of luck with this pack. I'm gonna struggle to carry my camera, which kind of stinks. I'm a little bit bummed out about that. It's not a deal breaker, but it's kind of disappointing. But I'll give them props. They got MOLLE on the waist pad, which is awesome. Again, I use a lot of dump pouches. I put a lot of sort of water bottle corsets on my hips. So I really do rely on my belt system to provide a lot of utility purpose. And going back to the same theme I've said the entire time, the ability to build this bag out and to get different gear on here to give me more capacity. Yes, I'm gonna gain weight, but with gear comes weight. I'd rather have something that's modular and gives me the flexibility, even if it's a little bit heavier. Now at this point, just stuffing a sleeping bag in here to give you a little demonstration on how it looks on my back. But I also need to say one thing that they've nailed is the fact that with the roll top design and the ability to potentially add accessory straps on the side, well, not only can you potentially use this as a roll top on top like this, which is typical roll top design, but you could actually add some accessory straps here to allow you to tuck this down and clip it in to the side of the pack, which is another way you can use this. And when you do that, you can actually remove the brain. So if you wanted to completely slim this pack down and just make it like sort of a little more of that, you know, roll top design, but without the brain, you can do that. So I am definitely happy with the design of this pack. I think they've done a wonderful job. It feels to be good and durable. I like the choice of material. I wasn't sure how I was going to like the color, but it's definitely sort of growing on me. And the more and more I sort of feel this pack, I think this is going to be a great day pack, a wonderful bushcraft pack. And the, again, only question for me is, how's it going to ride? So at this point, let's get it on my back and I'll show you how it looks. And so here with the Pathfinder Scout Pack on my back, a few things to discuss. First and foremost, the straps definitely feeling good, falling right where they need. Feels pretty comfortable, and they're a nice length where you get pretty good coverage overall. The waist belt. Now, keep in mind, for this demonstration, I'm about 6'1", right now about 170 pounds. I have about a 32-inch waist. This hip belt pretty much falling where it needs. I could use personally just a touch more padding. So if you have a bigger waist, it may end up just a little bit shy for you. Plenty of straps. The other thing that's nice sometimes when they have these loops, because you can loop your thumbs. So if you're into hiking, that is a feature on a lot of backpacking backpacks. That's nice. I do like that. But again, nice size buckle, and it's a little bit undersized compared to what you get a lot of times on sort of more robust packs, but not a big deal. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I'm just hoping this doesn't cut into me at all and is able to handle the weight if I build this out beyond the 40 liters. Now, as we look here, one thing you will notice, this pack fits beautifully between my shoulder blades. That's a big deal for a number of reasons. First and foremost, general comfort. When you're moving through tight areas, the ability to keep it and prevent it from getting snagged, especially when you're going through thick brush, and the ability for your arms to move and to maneuver with ease, not banging into the bag. And that means if you do build it out even a little bit more, it should be pretty reasonable and not terribly wide. So again, the design of this I definitely like. On my torso size, this does seem to be reasonable. It's a touch short for me. Usually I will get into maybe more of the large size if you have an option in your backpacking backpacks, more towards that large size. I want to say I have roughly about 21 inches from the small of my back up to that sort of midpoint, up by where your neck and your shoulders meet. So I usually need in that large range. I would say this bag fits more like a medium. But again, the only way to tell how this is going to feel is to get it loaded up. So the next video is, well, not so much about the features, but how you put this bag to good practical use out in the bush. And so again, from David Canterbury to Corporal Kelly of Corporal's Corner, I mean, great product here, nice testing. So all the people at Self-Reliance Outfitters, the Pathfinder School, I am definitely impressed at this pack, at least in principle. Again, as I've been saying the entire time, the only way to truly tell is to put this into good use, but my initial impressions are good. I think this is well built. It looks like their manufacturer did a very nice job. No stitching out of place, good quality material, sound design, good principles going into this, some flexibility, some modularity, strategic points where things are going to lash onto the pack. I am definitely looking forward to getting this out in the field. And so if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, I have a whole bunch of videos. That channel is growing fast, so do me a favor and give me a little bit of support. Check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.